We need your client.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you just broke into argument. I'm
Okay.
thinking he probably should be here for this. No, you can go get him, but they'll probably keep you. No,
You got
you
Murad
can't
here?
And I appreciate the court's infinite patience.
That courtroom's
Sometimes
packed.
it's all I have. Are they bringing him?
Yes.
Is Jar better?
This is Robin
Go
Lee
ahead.
Miller's fault.
Okay. Again, Ms. Blanche was kind enough to forward me the email she received from the medical examiner. And it says the body may not give a definitive cause. And it says toxicology is pending. I mean, this could have been an overdose. We just don't know. But what to me is important is that the skull she was able to examine, and there's no statement in here that it was the result of any kind of blunt force trauma. The second thing I wanted to make a point of, which I think is really, I thought about this after the court granted us a recess for me to talk to the family. I think on one level, having to borrow money from friends and family is more a guarantee of an appearance than if you paid a bail bondsman, because this is his family, and he'd be letting down his friends and family that are willing to post the bond because they have faith in him. I don't know that I really fully understood, or at least I thought I did, but did the court ask about a $500,000, 10% or $5 million?
Well, you were making the argument about getting money back and the like, and sort of balancing that against the something to guarantee his presence. And at least in my mind, that's what I was looking
that was
at.
certainly
And so that's what I put that out there as you were arguing about the payment of the $200,000.
Anyway, if the court was inclined to raise the bond to something higher than 200,000 with a 10% provision, that would certainly be less onerous than a $200,000 cash bond. But again, the bond I suggested, which the court obviously doesn't agree with, I thought was reasonable, but even it's going to be difficult. They don't know whether they can post a $500,000 10% bond. They would certainly try, but I think they could post a $2 million 10% bond. So with that being said,
That they could post a $2 million if it were.
Yeah, it would take some. Pardon?
If it were 10%,
Yes.
it could be posted.
Yes, the family they think they could gather enough money from friends and family to post that kind of a bond. And like I said, I think it is more of an assurance if he's indebted to his friends and family than to a bail bondsman who he has no connection with. And I given, that they may never be able to tell the cause of death. And certainly I understand where the court's coming from, that this could be a homicide. And if it is, then obviously the bond may change, but it's not there yet. And, in this country, we are presumed to be innocent. So I think the $200,000
Counsel, believe me,
I know you do.
that is not,
You just are worried about.
it is not lost on the court.
I know.
That whole concept is not lost on the court.
Okay.
But what also is not lost on the court is the other pieces that are there that aren't necessarily being argued. I understand it hasn't been charged. I also understand that people can't charge a case until they have enough there to charge. But
But I've conceded,
it's the
Judge.
fluid nature of the information that is causing the court some consternation, because this isn't, I have an event, we pretty much know everything about that event, and we're done. What I have here is we have an event of some type. we're not even sure what that event necessarily was, but we see some of the manifestations of it. And then there are pieces filling in, like the phones.
Right.
And those kinds of things that.
I get it. And Judge, I want you to understand this. When I made this bond suggestion, if it had been in a vacuum and there was no evidence that this could be a homicide, I would have not asked for $100,000 10% bond. I would have asked for a lower bond. So it wasn't like it was lost on me.
No, I know.
You know, that's why I didn't ask for a personal bond, because I do understand how the court might want to consider that there's an open homicide investigation. But again, my point is not that it's irrelevant, because I don't think it's irrelevant, and I don't think I've ever suggested that it's irrelevant. But what I do think is that it's relevant, but so is the life that he has lived that anybody would be proud of up until this point. And so again, if it's a $2 million 10% bond, the family thinks they could raise that. If the court thinks that a higher bond of a 10% is necessary, obviously we have to defer to the court. But I do think the $2 million cash or surety bond is just not reasonable and is excessive in violation of both the Michigan and the United States Constitution. And thank you for your time, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Blanche, anything else?
I just be laboring all the points I made before, but I am, like I said, concerned with community safety based on the fact she was last seen with him. She's found dead and he's tracking up to Northfield. That's a huge concern. And even if it came back that she overdosed, he didn't even call. If that was, let's say that was the benefit of the doubt for best case scenario. He didn't call for medical. He did nothing. He dumped her body on the side of a road up in Northfield Township in our jurisdiction. So even if that was the case, nothing was done to help this person that was in his supervision at that time that he was with her. So even if that was the benefit of the doubt and that was the argument, that's what comes out, that's still, I mean, the fact that you're lying, making distressful representations to the police, lying to the police, and then this woman's found dead in our community. Honestly, Judge, a $2 million bond is not unreasonable under the circumstances.
I believe we are set for a PCC next week on the 25th. Okay, here's what I'm going to do, and I'm doing this for a reason, mainly to inure to the benefit of the defendant in this case. I've heard the argument here. You can supply me whatever other information you want to supply to the court. I'm going to make my decision. I'm going to move the PCC to 3 o'clock on the 25th, if that will work with counsel's schedule. I will also set my decision on your bond motion for that same time. I want to mull over some things. I want to look at it. I'm doing that, and usually I don't adjourn my decision on bonds to another date. I will usually make that decision, but I want to look very closely at some things. I
Well, that's the
also
whole
want
question.
defendant to at least, defense counsel, to at least get a preliminary look at the initial discovery that's there, so that, and have an understanding of what the court may be taking into account with what the people have presented. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't, like I said, I'm not accustomed to doing that. And if I felt that absolutely the magistrate's decision on bond was an absolute abuse of discretion, I wouldn't hesitate to rule immediately. But I can't say that in my mind at this particular point in time with what I see.
I'll discuss it when this is
But I
over.
want to give you a chance to counter some of what the prosecution has put forth. I don't think that can be countered without seeing that discovered. Go ahead.
I appreciate, the court taking the time to really, give serious to consideration. I don't know that once I see the discovery, that I'm going to have any answers. I'm obviously not going to put forward a position factually at this early stage of the case.
Correct.
But what I would ask maybe is if the court would consider lowering the bond to something that you suggested earlier, and then if I can supplement it, I will do that. But I'd like to give him the opportunity, at least at this stage, to try to raise some kind of a bond. So if the court would be willing to entertain that possibility, looking at it in the light most favorable to the prosecutor, set some kind of other bond that is currently set, and then if I can convince the court that
I don't think you, counsel, I get what you're saying. I don't think you want me taking what I know now, looking at it
Okay.
with benefit to the prosecution. I really don't think I understand why you're saying that to me, but I don't think you want me to do that, because if I do that, I'm done. And I don't think I should be, because I want to make sure that everything that you have is given to me, and then let me make my ruling. People can like it, dislike it, but the one thing that you'll be able to say is that I looked at everything, gave everybody the opportunity to put forth everything before me, before I made my decision. And that's why I'm doing it this way.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
So the 25th
Let me just,
at 3:00
if the
will be
court,
the probable cause conference, as well as that.
um,
Let me also ask this, Ms. Blanche, you may or may not know. There's additional evidence that obviously an investigation that's proceeding. Is there anything that's going to be anticipated is coming forth within the next week that would be relevant to this particular?
I can't speak to, I would have to, obviously, I know I've actively been reviewing search warrants, just like today I have, so there will be stuff coming in. I don't know within the next week what we will have.
Gotcha.
I think the most important thing, Your Honor, at this stage is the autopsy,
Well,
cause of death.
correct. But in terms of my determination as to whether or not this individual poses a danger to the community or not, I think that there are other factors that may come in that may play into the court's decision that I don't know. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That time works for you then?
Yes, it was.
Okay. 25th at
Your
3:00.
Honor, I filled out a handwritten appearance, but I had to cross out some numbers. So can I just file a typewritten,
You did not file an appearance?
I have it with me.
Well, hold on. Didn't we have him on the case?
I've been corresponding with Ms. Weigler. I have it here.
It's handwritten? Can we,
And he's been on the case this
and you've been on the
Yeah,
case,
that's
so.
correct.
Yeah.
He has representation from.
Counsel, if it's handwritten, as long as I can read it, if you write like a doctor, I'm gonna have a problem, but if I can read it, I'll take it. All right, you don't have to go back and type it. Okay. But yeah, that will be fine if it's handwritten. Okay, anything else from either side? Okay, so at this time, bond will continue pending the hearing on the 25th.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. And folks in the courtroom, thank you very much for the manner in which you conducted yourselves. The court does very much appreciate that, that everybody behaved. All right, thank you.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. Sorry, I messed that one up too. But as you can see, I actually have Wi-Fi. And here you can tell. All right. All right, here I am. I'm not burnt. I told you. Nothing's changed about the color of my skin except the Wi-Fi. I got a little sun, but I'm not burnt. Everything about that Wi-Fi distorted everything. And so somebody made a nice thing. You guys tell me in the chat. I can put them back up. I just looked at the old videos because there was so much complaining about them, and I went back and looked at the videos I've done over the last week, and the video is horrible on them. It's just absolutely horrible. It just changes every few seconds, and I apologize. It was just dealing with the Wi-Fi that I had. I've changed locations, so I have different Wi-Fi. I mean, half the reason I'm doing this stream is because I had Wi-Fi. So that's where we're at. I can put them back up, I guess, but I just have so many people who are mad at me for putting out a video with that low of quality, and I understand that. It is really bad. It's weird because from my perspective, when I'm doing it, it looked kind of bad, but it doesn't look like that to me while I'm making it. So I didn't realize until I'd gotten so many complaints and went back to look at them, and I thought, oh, they are horrible. They are absolutely horrible. Well, yeah, but then if I put them in the members area, then I'm going to have a bunch of people grousing about. Just trust me, grousing about. Oh, you're forcing us to become a member, which whatever. Whatever. Sometimes YouTube's a headache. Just trust me. Oh, there you have it. So then I got a tip on this case, and then I started this late. I was sitting here waiting for it, and then I didn't realize it had started because apparently I had it paused. I'm just running my YouTube channel right into the ground here on vacation. But I see why it's high profile now. We've got a fatality, shall we say. I won't say probably. It appears to me that it's a murder of some variety. Could be negligent homicide. I don't know. I don't know anything about the facts, but literally all I know about it is what Jessica Blanche just said, because I missed the first time she was up. So if somebody's got the quick version of it, put it in the chat. I'll read it or put it up. There is no chest hair. None. Never has been. Never will be. That's the way God made me. I don't know what to say. All right, I'm looking. Well, I see what's a high-profile case because you've got. I'm not even sure about this. I think what you have is a couple. She is last seen with him. I don't even know if I have the genders right. My understanding is that a woman died and she was with a man, and then he dumps her body, based upon what the prosecutor said. Now that's not definitive, but it is suspicious as hell, isn't it? So we're having a bond hearing, and the attorney's jumping up and down saying we don't know if a murder's occurred, which is true as far as it goes. We don't know that. We probably don't know much. But the appearance of this situation is bad from the three snippets of information that I have. So that is, and in Judge Simpson's defense, he said, I don't defer these bond decisions, but I want everything first here. And that's true. I watch Judge Simpson all the time, like a lot of you guys do. And he doesn't duck bond decisions or any other decisions. But in this circumstance, it's high profile. It's a weird set of facts. I could imagine a scenario where he really is innocent but freaked out and did the wrong thing. I think that's unlikely, but it's plausible. It's plausible. Or at least not full on, sort of a murder sort of scenario. And I can certainly imagine a scenario where he committed a murder and is guilty of sin. That is certainly a strong possibility here. I don't know. We're gonna need more evidence. And the judge is like, I want some more information before I make this bond determination because it means a lot. That's a rational thing to do. Set a short date and hope that you get more info before you have to pull the trigger on it. Metaphorically speaking, I guess it's a bad metaphor for a murder case. The defense attorney was like, for all we know, this could be an OD, and that honestly, that honestly could be the case. Then you might be looking at negligent. I don't know anything about the facts of this case, but if that's the case, if she's with him and ODs, you know, we might have a negligent homicide scenario. We might have complete innocent scenario. It's hard to set a bond on that when there's a non-trivial possibility of like 0 to complete criminal culpability here. Yeah, and a fatality. You don't want to mess that up. You don't want to just throw away the keys on the guy and you don't have that much information, and you don't want to let him go if that's what he did. Well, that's all I got for you. I think I'll throw this one in the bin too. But it doesn't matter. I've got Wi-Fi back, baby. I'm back, baby. I've got Wi-Fi. I'm not sunburnt. I've got Wi-Fi. Oh, it feels good. It feels good. And now I can at least, I didn't realize, like you get used to it. Like everything was so slow. I couldn't read the comments, the camera, the video, everything. But like, it's so frustrating. I can't tell you how good it feels just to have a stream where I can see what you guys are talking about here. Good stuff. I've learned my lesson going forward. Check the Wi-Fi. It's the most important thing about the destination. I can find a beach anywhere. Just make sure you have Wi-Fi first. All right. Thank y'all for coming out. I'll see you soon.